I'm your Aristocom 23. You're joining me for Rising Tides, Chapter 3, Rock the Boat. You lower your phone, feeling your blood go cold. Robin looks at you with concern. I take it that wasn't good news. Charlie is in some kind of trouble with Strickler. She didn't get a chance to say what, but it does not sound good. How not good are we talking? Like on a scale of eternal detention to scrubbing the girl's bathroom with a toothbrush? I'm not sure. Knowing Strickler, it'll probably be worst possible option. I just hope Charlie keeps a cool head. She's a passionate person, but sometimes she speaks before she thinks, and that might hurt her here. I need to go. Maybe I can keep this from blowing up. Let me come with you. I might be able to help. If nothing else, I've been told that I provide some very good moral support. I could definitely use some of that. Thanks, Robin. You text Charlie, and the two of you head for the school, hurrying as quickly as you can. You and Robin arrive at the high school, cutting through the parking lot. The campus is eerily quiet. Do you know where your sister is? I'm not sure. She hasn't answered. Harriet! Charlie calls to you through an open window, and you rush over. Charlie, what's going on? What happened? A bunch of us tried to do a walkout in protest of Cedarport's lack of attention surrounding climate change, and he took our phones and locked us in the building. What? Can he do that? Talk about over-controlling, and potentially illegal. That's what we said, but of course he didn't listen. He said we were causing disruptions and spreading false information. Look, Harriet, you have to help us get out of here. We're not going to let him treat us like this. And we're definitely not going to let him silence us. But... is this the best way to make your point? What other way do I have? I can't vote. Every time I try to speak out at a public gathering, I get shut down. The more they try to keep me from speaking up, the more I start to wonder why they're so afraid of what I have to say. And it's not just me. There are at least 30 other kids in here who feel the same way I do. Don't we have the right to express ourselves? I hear you. But how am I going to get you out of... Wait, he's coming behind you! She disappears back in the classroom, and you'll roll around to see Principal Strickler striding across the parking lot towards you. Well, Miss Thompson, and I see you've brought your friend. Why did you lock the students inside? You need to let them out, now. Actually, I don't. I'm in charge here, and I can do or take whatever measures I see fit to keep this school safe. Safe, huh? That's a funny way of saying I imprisoned a bunch of kids because I didn't agree with them. It's my duty as an educator to guide our town's youth. Sometimes they don't know what's best for themselves. Right, because locking a bunch of people inside a building against their will is best here. Well, Elliot, you should know that your dear sister has disrupted her classmates' and learning environment and incited truancy. I'm not letting chaos break out in my school just because one girl is whining about the environment. Oh yeah? This is a violation of their rights. Surely your students learn about the First Amendment and the right to protest in class, unless you cut that from the curriculum. Surely you remember from your school days that I can call a lockdown if there's a reason to suspect the school is threatened. Maybe you think you can control the students, but I'm not sure the town would appreciate your tone. It'd be a shame if it went viral. He holds up his phone, and you realize he's been filming this whole encounter. Principal Strickler snarls. You think you scare me? You don't know this town. He steps closer to Robin, who stands his ground. But Cedarport doesn't like our agitators who stir the pot. Not you, not Harriet, and certainly not a bunch of kids acting out. And speaking of Charlotte, I was able to hand out detentions to her and her co-conspirators before you showed up uninvited. but she doesn't even done anything.
Oh, but she has, Elliot. She does it every day when she walks in here with that air of disrespect and insolence. No more. Now I'm only going to say this once. Get off my campus before I call the sheriff.
He storms away, and you're left standing dumbfounded. You clench your fist. I can't believe that guy. We can't let him get away with this. If I thought socking him in the jaw would help, I would have done it in a heartbeat. Psst, guys! You turn back to the window, where Charlie is sticking her head out. A few other students have gathered behind her. I heard what Principal Strickler said. We don't have much time. We need to get out of here before he comes and throws us all in detention. He's so focused on me that I don't think he knows who else is involved. If enough of us leave, he won't be able to narrow it down. Charlie, I want to help, but the windows are too small for you to get out and the door is locked. Leave this to me. To your surprise, Robin kneels down by the door and pulls a pair of lockpicks from his pocket. After a brief moment of fiddling, the door clicks open. I love a guy who thinks outside the box. I have my moments. Do me a favor and keep having them, okay? A group of students comes rushing out, led by Charlie. Come on, everyone. Let's go before Principal Strickler notices we're gone. Bobby, Alicia, can you help hold the doors open? How long do you think we have? Probably not long. I wish there was a way to buy him a little bit more time. Maybe I could hang back to make some sort of diversion. I wonder if I could get a little payback while I'm at it. He definitely deserves it after everything he's done to both of us. He made me feel like I was worthless for 4 years. All the more reason to give him a taste of his own medicine. Let's make him regret picking on us. She snaps, catches your eye, and gives you a hopeful grin. Help Charlie distract the principal and get some serious payback along the way. I've got a few revenge fantasies of my own for that jerk. You're on. His siblings aren't good for sharing. Okay, everyone else clear out. Harry and I will keep Strickler distracted and catch up with you after. Reconvene at Harbor Street. You should all split up and head over by different routes and 1s and 2s. That way you'll be less conspicuous. And I'd like to join you all so I can cover for my story. Perfect. The more the merrier. We'll see you there. The group splits off and you and Charlie sneak back into the school. You and Charlie creep through the halls until you reach Principal Strickler's office. We're in luck. Looks like he's not here. Okay, but we need to make this fast. He could come back at any moment. You peek nervously through the cracked door while Charlie rifles through Strickler's desk. What exactly are you looking for? I don't know. Something incriminating that we can use against him. Boring. It's all records and documents. Not even a liquor bottle in the drawer. Dang. If only being a total prick was illegal. A box by the door catches your eye. It's full of random assorted objects. Hey, what's the deal with all this junk? So, that's where he keeps all the stuff he confiscates from the students. This is a lot of stuff, and it really doesn't look like contraband. What's wrong with a ukulele? These beats? A foraging handbook. That's Emil's. His dad gave it to him as a gift before a big camping trip they were prepping for. But apparently Principal Strickler argued that it was a recipe book for making drugs and poison. Wow. I don't know if it makes me feel better or worse knowing that he's terrible to everyone, not just us. Can he even keep the stuff? Hasn't anyone complained? You know him, his school, his rules. Everyone knows that if they try to push back, he'll make their lives hell. But this is absurd. Most of the stuff isn't even problematic at all. You keep digging through the box, tossing the contraband on Strickler's desk. Like this, for example. Is that a receipt with glue? Oh no! I think that's from Hector. His shoe broke, so he brought that at the corner store during his lunch break to fix it. So Principal Strickler took the glue and receipt to prove that he was being truant. He didn't even get to fix the shoe, and Strickler wouldn't let him go home to change. That's so stupid. I can understand if he was pulling a prank with glue or something, but he had a legitimate reason. You toss the glue aside and it bounces off the desk onto Strickler's chair. I just don't understand Strickler. Like, Why does he feel the need to be so mean to everyone? He's probably super insecure. Like, he acts like he's a big shot, but the school was what? 300 students? And I don't think he has much of a life outside of work. Wow, that's actually kind of sad. I feel bad for him if he wasn't such an ass. No, not trouble at all. You and Charlie exchange a horrified glance as you hear Strickler's voice approaching from the office. He's coming, but put everything back where it was. You hurriedly shove the items back in the box, but when you reach for the glue on the chair, it's wet and sticky. And it's super glue. Oh no, the baggie wasn't sealed all the way. Charlie is everywhere. Then wipe it off before he gets here. Quick, get some tissues. Oh, have you ever tried to wipe super glue off a chair or anything? This is super glue, Charlie. It tear a piece of tissue to shreds. Grab a jacket from the coat rack and desperately try to wipe away the glue until the office door opens. You and Charlie barely have time to dive into a closet. I wasn't expecting you to drop in without warning, but I'm always happy to have time for the district superintendent. I'll try not to take up too much of your time. I just want to see how things are going here at Cedarport High. I pride myself on maintaining a safe and productive learning environment. The students know how to respect my authority. You can faintly hear Charlie grinding her teeth beside you. Oh, well, excellent. Before I forget, are your progress reports ready to be sent out? We're updating our records. Not a problem, let me email them to you now. Your heart beats faster as Strickler rounds his desk and plops down a chair. After a moment of typing on the computer, Strickler swivels back towards the superintendent. Now that that's been taken care of, we could, Strickler attempts to stand up, but remains firmly in place. Charlie leans closer and whispers in your ear. Harriet, I think he's stuck to his chair. Is everything alright?
Yes, I am. I'm just,
Strickler wriggles aggressively in his chair, face growing redder by the minute. You have to bite your knuckles to keep from laughing. Suddenly he bolts up from the chair. A loud, ripping sound fills the room. You stare in horror at the large hole in Strickler's trousers.
Oh my god. Volva! How?
Maybe I should come back at a better time.
Please, I need to go.
Karma, Betty. Pick karma. You and Charlie shake with silent laughter as Principal Strickler waddles hurriedly out of the door, clutching his backside. Once the superintendent leaves, you and Charlie slip out of the closet. Wow, I'm simultaneously so glad I got to see that and sickened that I know what Strickler's boxers look like. Tell me about... talk about poetic justice. Getting undone by the very stuff he unjustly took from students, Shakespeare couldn't have crafted a finer setup. She kisses the tips of her fingers exaggeratedly. Next time he tries to bully you, just picture this moment. Trust me, I will. And hey, looks like we found that distraction we needed to get him off of our tail. Yep, I'd say he's good and distracted. Mission accomplished. Have I told you lately that you're the best sister ever? I think it bears repeating. Laughing, you exit the school with your arm around your sister and haul off towards Harbor Street. You reconvene with the rest of the students on Harbor Street. They mill around excitedly, buzzing about the sidewalk. This is so cool. I've never done anything like this before. So, what do we do now? We exercise our freedom of speech. Students cheer, but you and Robin exchange a glance. Well, yes, but what exactly is the plan? Go downtown and talk about what we want? That's a little vague. Maybe you should figure it out before going and charging in. Hey, this is all spur of the moment of the thing. We didn't exactly have time to set an agenda. And that's one of the reasons why these school walkouts don't actually work. Yeah, it would probably be at least good to get on the same page. What message are you sending? What demands are you making? What's with the third degree, Harriet? I thought you were on our side. I am. Then why are you being so nitpicky and telling us what to do? Because otherwise Strickler will say he was right. Don't give people the excuse to think you're just a bunch of punks skipping school. Folks like Strickler are going to try and find any way to tear you down. Students are quiet, but they're listening. Charlie rubs the back of her head. Listen, I sympathize with you here, but I'm already on your side. If you want this to work, you need to work on convincing the people who aren't. Charlie, the other day at the beach, people kept sweeping your arguments aside, and I think you were ready to push them further. I'm not saying all this to discredit you, I'm trying to help you make your message stronger. Yeah, you're right, but I've never done anything like this before. I just know we have to do something. Hey, caring enough to show up? That's the most important step. Why don't you talk me through what's bothering you and what you want to change? We can work from there. Yeah, treat us to a trial run. Convince us of the issues as if we didn't know or care. I mean, you and I know firsthand why this is an issue. Our family's whole livelihood depends on fishing, but we're on pause. We have very little money saved, but what happens when that runs out? My family's business is affected too. We don't have much saved up at all. What's gonna happen to us? The same. We still don't know what the cause is, and I'm frustrated that a lot of people in Cedar Point aren't taking climate change seriously as a possibility. And even if the die-off was a fluke, climate change is an issue in the world, and it's scary to see how little people seem to care. I think people will just assume we don't know what we're talking about because we're young, so they brush us off. But we live here too, and we're the ones who are going to be here when the older generations are gone. What are we gonna inherit? Would you like me to tell you? A dust ball of a planet. Yeah, there are days when I wonder, like, should I have hopes and goals for what life will look like when I'm an adult? Before this, I wanted to study fashion design. Now I feel like I should get a degree in ecology or something that should help our climate change situation. Maybe someday I'll want kids, but what kind of world would I bring them into? This is why you don't have kids. Your heart pangs as you see the look of pure dejection on their faces. Charlie, I had no idea you felt this way. I'm sorry. That's the problem. I don't think the older generations realize that when we talk about climate change, we're talking about our futures. Then it's good where you talk this out, because now you can tell people exactly what the issues are. It sounds like you want more concrete action regarding climate change. Exactly. We still don't know what caused the die-off, so there should be way more research into what happened. And if it is climate change related, we need to see some solid steps taken to address that. I'm sure that once the mayor realizes how concerned so many of you are, he'll put more effort into that. What else? It sounds like you want better dialogue and communication with the community. Definitely. I've been brushed off at every turn whenever I try to speak my mind. So far, we haven't had a chance to actually share our opinion as a community. It's just been speeches. Agreed. I think people have been looking toward leaders for guidance, and everyone's voices should be heard. What else? Oh my god, we're just going down the list. Cedarport is built on fishing. Until we know it's safe to continue, we need to make sure families can keep a roof over their heads. And it's not just an issue for people who can't work. This will have a ripple effect on our town's whole economy. Makes sense. Maybe the mayor can take this up on the state level to get support for those affected. It'd be great if we had some signs. I have a notebook and some pens in my backpack we could use. They may not be the prettiest, but they'll do the trick. He starts passing out supplies, and the students begin making signs. This is great, everyone. I'll be sure to highlight your arguments in my article. Okay, do you feel more confident about what you're going to say when you're downtown? Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Harriet. To your surprise, she throws her arms around you, pulling you into a tight hug. Wow, and here I was worried that I was going to embarrass you in front of your friends. Never. You're the coolest sister ever. The crowd of students continues downtown, looking more excited and determined than before. You and the students pour into the town square, signs aloft. As always, the square is full of people who turn and watch. The students march along and take a post in front of the town hall, chanting. Robin hangs back, snagging pictures and taking videos on his phone. Climate change is not a hoax. Climate change is not a hoax. We want answers. We need hope. We want answers. We want hope. Townspeople begin gathering to watch. Finally, a few step forward. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What are you kids doing? We're here to protest Cedarport's lack of action when it comes to addressing the fish die-off. We still don't know what caused it, and we're certain that the leadership isn't investigating climate-based causes. Okay, but you can't do it more quietly? You're giving me a headache. You know what's giving me a headache? Not knowing if my family will be able to make ends meet without fishing as a source of income. Well, that's not our fault. No, but we need you to listen and support us. Aren't you worried about what's happening? I'm worried about a bunch of kids skipping school. If you cared about Cedarport, you wouldn't be here disturbing the peace. Harriet, I'm disappointed to see you taking part in this as well. You should know better. You see Charlie bristle when you step forward. But this is about all of us. It's not about a us versus you conversation. They're talking about protecting Cedarport for everyone's benefit. You think Mayor Liao isn't concerned about the dial? It's the #1 thing on his plate. How does he even complain and help? This is an insult to how hard he and the other leaders of Cedarport have been working. We appreciate that they're working hard, but we're asking them to focus on the right thing. If they just... She's cut short as a car screeches to a halt in front of the town hall. And to your horror, Principal Strickler gets out.
I had a feeling you'd be here. Let me remind you all, the truancy is a legal offense.
You want to talk legal offense? What about the part where you locked us in a school building?
If that was the case, that wouldn't explain how you broke out.
Hey, Principal Strickler, did you change your pants?
No, what are you talking about?
I could have sworn you were wearing a different pair this morning. Strickler's face goes bright red, and you have to bite your lip to keep from laughing. Suddenly the doors of City Hall swing open, and Mayor Liao emerges. What's going on here? Mayor Liao, we're here to voice our concerns about the role the climate change has played in the fish die-off. We're going to ask for more research into the subject, as well as better opportunities for community dialogue and aid for affected families. We're not here to cause trouble or skip school. We're here because we're scared. You put a hand on her shoulder and she looks up at you, hopefully.
Charlie, I really appreciate you and your friends voicing your concerns. I don't want you to feel like we're not listening, but this is a complicated issue. Let me assure you, we're doing the best we can.
Your best isn't good enough.
That's great that you've been civilly engaged, but don't let that get in the way of your education. You are all part of the future for Cedarport, and the place where you can do the most is by learning in the classroom.
Wait. Are you even listening to them? You say you're not brushing them off, but you are. You can't act like their future if you actually don't care about their future.
Harriet, for what it's worth, I have no problem with demonstrations like these, but these kids really should be in school. I know you all mean well, so I'd ask Principal Strickler to let this one slide, but please don't do this again. What do you mean? Let this one slide? These hooligans! Oh, drop it, Strickler. I actually want to have a conversation with you later. The superintendent called to let me know he had some concerns with your management system.
Strickler's face goes white as Mayor Lau turns back to the students.
I promise you I'll consider what you've brought up today, but I have a whole town to answer to, and I need to think about what they want to do. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to get back to my meetings.
He disappears back in the town hall, and the group of students starts to dissipate, mumbling amongst themselves. Dang, that didn't work either. Hey, I'm proud of you, kiddo. You were focused, organized, and rational. I think you did a really good job, whatever happens. How about I swing by and walk you home after school? We can stop by Angelica's cafe on the way back and pick you up something sweet. Thanks. And I do really appreciate you helping today. I just wish we'd made more progress. She peels off with another student, and you're left standing in front of the town hall, contemplating what just happened, until Robin approaches you. Hey, you doing okay? Yeah, this has been quite the day. No kidding, jailbreak, truancy, and an impromptu protest all in one afternoon, that's a lot. I just wish people had listened. Hearing Charlie say how much this has affected her, it just breaks my heart. Well, I'll do my best to tell their side of the story. I've got a lot of good quotes and footage today. I really appreciate it. God, I just feel so wound up by all this. He looks at you just a beat longer than expected, and to your surprise, his lips curve into a smile. It sounds like you need to unwind a little. I might have a few ideas. Are you going to share any of those ideas, or are you just going to be intentionally mysterious? I wouldn't want to ruin the surprise, but I think you'll enjoy it. Join Robin for a chance to get to know him better and share some artistic passions. Count me in. Robin leads you through the side streets to a shady lane. At this hour in the afternoon, it's deserted. So, you're the one showing me around now, huh? I've been able to explore a bit of in the last few days, but actually I was just looking for somewhere private. How do you feel about making street art? After what just happened, I'm not sure Sheriff Smith would appreciate catching me mid-graffiti. Don't worry. I'm not about to whip out a can of spray paint. I was thinking of something a little bit more legal. He pulls out a box of sidewalk chalk from his bag. I see you came prepared. I like making public art, and chalk is a convenient way to create on the go. I usually keep some on me. Really? That's so cool. I didn't know you were in art. I was always a doodler as a kid. Wasn't a desk, whiteboard, or book margin I wouldn't draw on, but my classmates always liked my drawings. I realized art is a great way to connect with people. It gives you something to share. So, what's some work you're proud of? I didn't have the best experience at school. Most of my teachers and classmates thought I was never going to amount to anything. But our librarian knew how much I read and saw something in me. One day he asked me to paint a mural on the library wall. It took 3 months, but I poured my feelings into it. I felt like I proved my talent and motivation to everyone. Anyway, art has always been an outlet for me, so I thought maybe you could use something like that today. Want to give it a shot? He holds out a box of chalk, and you take a few. Then the two of you settle on the ground and begin sketching. Man, this brings back memories. I haven't used chalk since I was a kid. Do you ever make other kinds of art? Not really. Charlie was always the artsy one. She's got her sewing and stuff. I was usually the one lining up the chalk in order of color. All the more reason to do this. Using the other side of your brain can really be freeing. Freeing, sure, but also pretty out of my comfort zone. I don't even know what to draw. Think about something that's meaningful. What inspires you? Definitely nature. It wasn't until I left Cedarport that I realized how lucky I was to grow up someplace with so much access to wildlife. One time I was riding my bike late at night near the woods, and I got the feeling that someone was watching, so I stopped. And standing right next to me was a huge stag with leaves, all a garland and around its antlers. He looked so majestic. Okay, you didn't tell me your life was a Hayao Miyazaki film. Did he have any wise forest knowledge to share with you? Actually, I had that happen to me. Like, I live in a city that has hardly any nature, and I had a deer the other day approach me. Like, it was really wild. I should post my pictures I have on Instagram. Feel free to check out there. Not really. We stared at each other for like a minute. He sniffed me and then ran off, but I'll never forget it. I definitely think you could turn your experience into a drawing. I don't know if I'd be able to draw it super well, but I'll give it my best shot. Hey, it's about the process, not the product. As long as it's coming from the heart, I'm sure you'll be great. Why don't we, do a collaborative piece? I can help you fill in some of the details. That'd be great. Two of you set about drawing. As you sketch, you realize you're starting to relax. I think you were right. This does feel really good. I wouldn't have suggested it if it didn't think it would help. Glances over at your drawing. Hey, that's pretty slick. And you said you weren't as good as art. Well, I guess it's less about the skill and more about how of my comfort zone it is. Yeah, well, I'm glad you felt comfortable trying something different with me. Watch Robin work, his hands move deftly, adding details here and there. His expression is focused, a lock of hair falls over his forehead. Your art style is absolutely beautiful. Thanks, I do my best. Can I get a hands-on tutorial? Hands-on, huh? Only because you asked nicely and you're very pretty. He moves behind you, placing his hand over yours. As he guides your hand, you're conscious of his chest pressed against your back. Let's say you want to hold your wrist like this. Make light flicking motions. You got that? His breath tickles your ear as he speaks. Sorry, I zoned out for a minute. Guess I'll have to show you again. He leans even closer, his cheek pressed against yours, and rests his free hand on your hip. Okay, it's all about going with the flow and letting yourself get lost in the feeling. When you put it like that, I'm starting to like art more and more. You keep working until finally you add a few finishing touches and lean back to admire your handiwork. There, what do you think? The drawing depicts a majestic stag standing against greenery and flowers. I think we make a good team, and I think you've got an artistic side that's waiting to emerge. Thanks. I feel pretty proud of this. Do you want to give it a title? I think a name can give a piece of art a whole other dimension of meaning. New future. I like that. When people walk by and see a new future, it'll make them think for a minute. You carefully chalk the title under the drawing in neat letters. Perfect. A new future is a masterpiece. It is kind of a bummer that it'll probably fade away in a few days, though. Unless it rains. That or Principal Strickler walks by and he goes, "Who made this? I will be on it!" Then he gets arrested for indecent exposure. So, we had the experience of making it. It's a temporary, but it only makes it more precious. Anyone who sees it gets a beautiful, or experience a beautiful, once-in-a-lifetime thing. I didn't think about it like that. That is pretty cool. I'm still gonna take a picture of it, though. Just promise to send it to me. I'd love a reminder of this nice afternoon we spent together. Snap a photo of on your phone and return to the city center with Robin, feeling lighter than before. You take Charlie to Angelica's after school, but when you get home, your parents are waiting on the dock looking exasperated. Charlotte and Morgan Thompson, what were you thinking? What do you mean? Don't start with me. Beth called and told me what happened. You could have been arrested or expelled. But I was standing up for what's right. We know, sweetie, and we respect that you're so passionate about climate change, but is this really the best way to make your point? What else am I gonna do to make my point? I got shut down at Town Hall. I got brushed off at the cleanup. If people aren't going to listen to me, then I'm going to speak louder. You can speak as loud as you want, but that doesn't mean people will want to hear it. You can't risk your education for one little protest. But, Mom, what good is education if no one listens? Charlie and her classmates may be young, but they've done research on the subject and know what they're talking about. This isn't about education. It's about people not willing to accept an answer they don't want to hear. This goes for you too, Harriet. I asked you to keep an eye on your sister, not help her get into trouble. Mom, that's not fair. It's not like they were doing anything illegal. They were being civilly engaged. Did Beth tell you that the Principal Strickler locked the students in the school too? Yeah, and Robin and the reporter from Northbridge covered the event and is going to write about it in his story. Your parents exchange a glance. Honey, that's the kind of thing we're worried about. I don't want you getting manipulated or caught up in someone else's agenda. What agenda? We both believe in climate change. He's trying to help us get the word out. He's a reporter, Charlie. At the end of the day, he's here to get a story that will put his name in print. And it doesn't matter if it's good or bad, as long as it sells papers. Be careful with him. But it's not like Robin forced Charlie to do the walkout. You make it sound like he manipulated her into doing this for his article. You're not even a little bit concerned that an adult encouraged a bunch of students to break out of school. Strickler crossed a line, sure, but it sounds like Robin picked the most reckless possible way. Ugh. I feel like you guys are just coming up with excuses to shut me down. Charlie, that's not our intention at all. We love you, we support you, we believe that what you're saying about climate change. We did raise you to stand up for your beliefs, after all. We just want to make sure you're, not putting yourself at risk, okay? Strickler could use something like this to put a blot on your record. And we want you to have every opportunity for a bright future where you take the world by storm. Your mom puts a hand on Charlie's shoulders, and she lets out a sigh. Promise me you won't do something like this again without talking to us first. Okay, promise. Oh, that'll change it. Suddenly your mom's cell phone rings. She takes it out and her brow furrows when she looks at the screen. Mom, are you gonna answer that? What's wrong, dear? Well, speak of the devil, it's Principal Strickler. Any wild guesses as to why he's calling? I'm screwed, aren't I? Without further ado, thank you all for watching. You know what to do. It's on your screen. Please make sure that if you did enjoy what I do, hit that like button. That's the very least I ask. You know, there's an algorithm, it's a system, YouTube hates me. Anyway, moving on. So, this is all I'm going to say about this book, as well as the meaningless of it. I've been trying for decades to change things for kids. I've been trying for decades to change things for adults, for anyone who will listen, and everyone that it basically, well, the current generation as well as future generations. No one has listened to me. No one. No one is cared. So, I definitely know how these two girls feel. Or two characters, may I say. In case you chose male or... I don't know. I don't know if that was an opportunity. Sorry. Basically, one, I jumped up. I haven't had coffee. I did this. I'm sick. What more do you want from me? Anyway, I give 110% of this to myself for anything I do. So, yeah. With that being said, I definitely know how these people feel. And then right now we've got this whole... We're going to have to start counting and what the hell's going on. And... It's... I already know, and I believe what I posted on social media will come to pass. But we'll see. We'll see. Thanks for watching. Catch you all later. Peace.